If you've got questions about the Oticon Zeal hearing aids, I'm about to answer them for you. Hey guys, Cliff Olson, Doctor of Audiology and founder of Applied Hearing Solutions in Phoenix, Arizona, and in this video, I'm answering 10 of the most common questions patients ask about the Oticon Zeal hearing aids. The Oticon Zeal is a completely new type of hearing aid that was released in the United States at the beginning part of 2026. Now, just in case you missed it, Oticon flew me to their headquarters in Denmark to get a sneak peek of the Zeal so I could see what this hearing aid was capable of. Then, several weeks before they were released in the United States, I got to put these hearing aids through my full detailed review process. And then for the past 3 months, I've been fitting these hearing aids on pretty much anybody I could get my hands on to identify how good they are in the real world, and so I could see what their strengths and limitations are. All of that to say, I know a lot about these hearing aids and how well they work. So when Oticon asked me to do this sponsored video answering the top 10 questions that people have about the Zeal hearing aids, I said, sign me up. But before I get started, do me a huge favor, click the like button, really helps out the channel, and if you are not yet subscribed to the channel with notifications turned on, go ahead and do that as well. It's greatly appreciated. All right, let's go ahead and get right to it. The first question is, what makes the Zeal different than other hearing aids? Right off the bat, you can tell that the Oticon Zeal hearing aid is a very small device. It's actually considered a completely in the canal style hearing aid, but the biggest thing about this hearing aid is that it performs a lot more like a receiver in the ear hearing aid, not a CIC hearing aid. The size of this hearing aid makes it incredibly discreet as you're wearing it, but it's also rechargeable, it has wireless connectivity, it uses artificial intelligence, and it can be fit by your hearing care professional the same day that you're tested. So what's really different about the Zeal? Well, not a whole lot when you compare it to a receiver in the ear hearing aid, except for this hearing aid goes entirely inside of your ear canal. On to question number 2. Will the Zeal hearing aid work for my hearing loss? The Zeal is intended for individuals who have hearing loss thresholds of 70 decibels or better. However, I spent a ton of time evaluating the Zeal hearing aids in a variety of different individuals' ear canals, and what I can tell you is that your ear canal size and shape will have a significant impact on how well this hearing aid performs when it comes to the amount of amplification you're able to receive from it. Generally speaking, individuals with smaller ear canals can typically have even worse hearing losses and still be able to amplify up to the levels that they need. On the other hand, if you have rather large ear canals, it might be a struggle to hit your prescriptive targets when using the Zeal hearing aid. But the other really nice thing about the Zeals when it comes to amplifying for your hearing loss is that you can either use a rubber dome like this one right here, or you can use a custom ear mold like this one right here. So if you're someone who has a more significant hearing loss and you're trying to trap more amplification inside of your ear canal so you can effectively use the Zeals, going with a custom molded ear tip is a great idea. If you ended up watching my review video or you watched the live webinar that I gave a couple weeks ago about the Zeal hearing aids and candidacy criteria for the Zeal, you would know that everybody's ear canal is different. So when you're running verification measures using real ear measurement, you can identify that some individuals that you wouldn't think would get benefit from the Zeal can actually get benefit, and some individuals who you thought the Zeal would be a home run for, you end up struggling to hit their prescriptive targets a little bit. During a consultation with a hearing care professional, if they have some extra time and a demo pair of the Zeal hearing aids, they can actually place them inside of your ear canals using a rubber dome and actually run a feedback manager check. The results of the feedback manager will indicate whether or not you are likely to be able to amplify up to your full prescription using the Zeal, or whether or not it's going to be a struggle and you might need to go with a custom ear mold. At the end of the day, the only way to know whether or not this hearing aid will be sufficient for your level of hearing loss is to go see a hearing care professional so they can measure it for you. All right, on to question number 3, which is, will the Zeal fit my ears? Now, this is a very good question because everybody's ear canal size and shape is completely different. But I've been fitting these hearing aids for several months at this point, and I can tell you that the treatment success rate, meaning will these hearing aids actually physically fit a patient's ears, is around 90%. Even if you have very small ear canals, you'd be surprised at how well this hearing aid fits small ears. And there's a couple of reasons why for this. So the first thing that I'll point out is the curvature that they built into this hearing aid. You can see how it kind of takes a 45-degree angle with the receiver tip there from the body of the hearing aid. And that's what allows this hearing aid to naturally curve with your ear canal, making it significantly more comfortable to wear. On top of that, you also have the ability to use custom molded ear tips on these, or you can use the generic rubber domes. The generic rubber domes are comfortable for some people, the custom molded ear tips are comfortable for others. At the end of the day, the only way to know whether or not these hearing aids will actually fit your ears is to check it out for yourself by going to see your hearing care professional and having them place a pair of demo devices in your ears with a rubber dome, and if that doesn't work, get a custom ear mold to see if that works for you. Of course, this takes us on to question number 4, which is, are the Zeal hearing aids really invisible? Well, I'm sorry to disappoint you here, but I don't think anything is truly invisible. If someone wants to see it bad enough, they're gonna see it. But I would say that these are very discreet and very inconspicuous as you're wearing them. Now, like I mentioned already, I do have the custom molded ear tip on my right Zeal hearing aid, so I'm gonna go ahead and put that into my ear so you can get a perspective of what that looks like. And then I'm going to take the vented dome on my left ear, place this hearing aid, and see what that one looks like. So I'm just gonna go ahead, look at you from the front here. You probably can't tell that I'm wearing any hearing aids at all. I'm gonna rotate to my right so you can get an idea of what this looks like inside of my left ear. Now, you will notice that they made these a black color for a reason, because if you look inside someone's empty ear canal, all you really see is a black hole. So if you were to make this a flesh tone color, it would look a little bit off as you're wearing it. But this one right here, as you can see, fairly inconspicuous as you're looking in my ear. Now I'll go to the right side here. This one might be a little bit bigger just because of that custom molded ear tip on the end of it, but at the end of the day, I feel like they look very similar, and I feel like they're both very discreet. You have to remember that when you're wearing hearing aids, other people aren't looking to see whether or not you have hearing aids in. It's like if you were to spill some mustard on your shirt, you go through the rest of the day being like, oh my gosh, everybody's looking at me. They're looking at this mustard stain on my shirt, and nobody cares about the mustard stain on your shirt. Nobody probably even notices, even though you think they notice. The Oticon Zeal hearing aids are the exact same thing. People aren't looking inside of your ear canals to see if they see a hearing aid in there. All they see is a black hole, which looks like a regular ear canal, so they just assume that you're not wearing any hearing aids at all. Okay, so question number 5 is, how durable is the Zeal? So the Zeals, as you can tell, sit completely inside of the ear canals, which is a very harsh environment. But I'm happy to say that the Zeal has an IP68 rating, which is the highest rating that a hearing aid can achieve for moisture resistance and debris resistance. Now, the reason why these hearing aids are so durable is because of Oticon's new encapsulation technique. This is where they actually took the outer shell of the hearing aid and poured it onto the internal components of the device. I want you to think of Jurassic Park. You remember in that movie how they were able to get dinosaur DNA? It's because that DNA was trapped inside of a mosquito that was inside of a piece of amber. So essentially how this happens is that the mosquito was encapsulated by tree sap, and then when that tree sap hardened, it preserved the mosquito for millions of years. Basically what I'm telling you here is that the Oticon Zeal hearing aids have dinosaur DNA inside of them. But all jokes aside, this encapsulation technique makes these hearing aids incredibly durable. All right, so now that you're confident that the Oticon Zeal hearing aids will last you millions of years, we can now move on to question number 6, which is, do the Zeal hearing aids allow you to use Bluetooth to stream phone calls and other media from your smart device? And the answer to this question is yes, but I'm going to show you how. So Oticon basically decided to put an antenna on these hearing aids that wraps into the bowl of your ear canal. Now, typically when you have a hearing aid that's this size, you're not able to get wireless connectivity with it. But by having this antenna inside the concha bowl of your ear, it allows it to stream audio directly from your smart device into your hearing aids. The other cool thing about this antenna is that it triples as a retention filament and removal string, so you can pull the hearing aid out of your ear. Now, the Zeal uses several different forms of Bluetooth. So it has Bluetooth Low Energy to use with iPhones. It has the Bluetooth protocol to use with certain Android devices that do not have Bluetooth LE audio yet, and it uses Bluetooth LE audio. Now, if you're wondering whether or not your smart device will be compatible with the Oticon Zeal hearing aids, I'm happy to say that they do have a website that you can actually check to see if your smart device is compatible with the Zeal, and I will put that link in the description for you. I will say that there's a couple of other cool things that the Bluetooth inside of these hearing aids allows you to do. So when a phone call comes in, if you want to be hands-free, all you got to do is double tap your ear to answer a phone call. You can talk, and then the microphones of the Zeal picks up your voice and sends it to the person on the other end of the line, and then you can double tap your ear again to hang up on them. But because these devices use Bluetooth LE audio, it also means that they're compatible with Auracast broadcast audio. Now, just in case you're unaware, Auracast allows you to stream audio from a public venue like a movie theater, a church, a sports bar, or a museum directly into your hearing aids. On top of that, a lot of television sets nowadays are being created with Auracast broadcast audio capabilities, so you can tap directly into the audio of your TV with your Oticon Zeal hearing aids using the Oticon Companion app. The Oticon Zeal hearing aids were the very first time that I ever personally experienced Auracast, and all I have to say is it was amazing. And not only does the Oticon Companion app allow you to gain access to an Auracast broadcast signal, but you can also use the app to do other things like adjust volume levels, change programs, and activate remote care with your hearing care professional. All right, so now you should have a full understanding of what these hearing aids are capable of when it comes to wireless connectivity. So let's move on to question number 7, which is, what is the battery life of the Oticon Zeal hearing aids, and can the rechargeable lithium-ion battery be replaced in office? Well, I'm happy to say that you can get up to 20 hours of battery life on a single charge, which is going to be plenty of battery life for most individuals, and this includes when you're streaming from your smart device. I have a lot of patients in these hearing aids right now, and not a single one of them has come back saying, "Hey Cliff, I'm running out of battery before the end of the day." Now, the second part of this question is, can that lithium battery be replaced in office? And unfortunately, it cannot be replaced in office. If the batteries go bad, we have to send these hearing aids back to Oticon so they can exchange the device for us. Technically speaking, the only things that can be replaced on the Zeal hearing aids are the domes or custom ear molds, the wax traps at the tip of the receiver, the microphone covers on the faceplate of the hearing aid, and this wireless antenna. Other than that, if the hearing aid has an issue, it needs to go back to Oticon so they can fix it. Question number 8 is a question that I get asked all of the time, which is, does the charging case actually store charges? Well, I'm happy to say yes, this case does store additional charges for you. So let me go ahead and show you how this works. I do not have this plugged into the wall right now, but I am actually charging my Oticon Zeal hearing aids. You can see the lights light up when they're charging. Now, if I turn this over to the back, you can see these 3 lights right there telling us that this charging case has 3 full charges stored inside of it. I really like having a lithium-ion battery inside of a charging case because you never know when you're going to want to unplug the USB-C cable from this, just kind of throw it in your bag and take off. And if you need to put your hearing aids back into the charging case to give them another little bit of a boost, you can usually get about 3 hours of additional battery life with a simple 15-minute additional charging time inside of the charger, and then you can get a full charge in as little as 2.5 to 3 hours. And if you ask me, having a lid on a charging case is an absolute must. If you've got kids or you've got animals, you do not want them to easily be able to just grab the hearing aids out of your charger. You want to be able to close it like this, throw it in a bag, and go. I should also mention that it's very easy to place the hearing aids inside of the charger because it uses a magnet to pull them into place. And then you can, of course, use these little antennas to pull them out of the charging case. It's super simple. You can easily tell that Oticon put a lot of time into the ergonomics and functionality of this charging case, and I really appreciate that. But given the amount of research and development that they put into developing these hearing aids and this nifty little charging case, it brings us to question number 9, which is, how much do these hearing aids cost? One thing that you really need to know about the Oticon Zeals is that Oticon decided to make only their top tier technology level, the Oticon Zeal 1. This means that they do not have the Zeal 2, Zeal 3, or Zeal 4. And if you know anything about technology levels from hearing aid manufacturers, each time that you drop down in technology level, they take features and customizations away from your hearing care professional, but it also reduces the price of the devices. Now, it does depend on where you live, whether you're purchasing these bundled with the services included, or whether you're purchasing them separate from the services, and whether or not the services that are provided to you are from a hearing care professional who follows comprehensive audiologic best practices. For instance, if you live in the Bay Area in California, you're probably going to spend more on the Zeal hearing aids than if you live in the backwoods of Kentucky. Also, if you purchase these hearing aids from a clinic that bundles in all of the services that you'll need to receive with these hearing aids over the course of 3 to 5 years, you're probably going to spend more on those hearing aids to get all the services with it. If you purchase them from an unbundled clinic, the cost of the hearing aids will be lower, but then you'll have to pay for all the additional services that you'll need to make these hearing aids work for you. And then if you go to a hearing care professional who follows best practices, they're going to be spending a lot more time with you and doing a lot more services for you to make sure that you maximize the performance of these hearing aids, but you'll end up having to pay for those best practice services as well. So if your goal is to spend as little money on the Zeal hearing aids as humanly possible, make sure that you go to a clinic that does not provide you with a whole lot of services. But if you want to hear your absolute best with the Zeal hearing aids, make sure that you go to a clinic that follows comprehensive audiologic best practices, spend the extra money, and get the full benefit. All right, on to our 10th and final question, which is the Oticon Zeal hearing aid as good as the Oticon Intent receiver in the ear hearing aid? Let's be honest, the Oticon Intent hearing aid is an unbelievably good hearing aid. So to hold the Oticon Zeal up to the same standard as the Intent would be a tall order. And if you compare the capabilities of these devices side by side, they are very similar. I mean, they're both rechargeable, they both have wireless connectivity, they both use artificial intelligence with the same Sirius chip, they're just as customizable when you look at the programming software, and you can use the same rubber domes or custom ear molds on both. But there are some advantages of using the Zeal hearing aids as opposed to the Intent hearing aids. So like I mentioned earlier, the Zeal hearing aids go completely inside of your ear canals. There's nothing that goes behind your ear at all. So if you have really small space behind your ears and you can't comfortably wear a hearing aid back there, you might as well go with the Zeal. On top of that, you get less hair noise when you have the hearing aid inside of your ear canal versus behind your ear as well. And one of the great things about having a hearing aid that goes inside of your ear is that you get the benefit of your pinna effect. The pinna effect is what allows you to identify what direction sound is coming from, and it gives you a bit of natural directionality to help you out in background noise. But there are a couple of reasons why the Oticon Intent hearing aid might make more sense for you than the Zeal does. The Oticon Zeal uses a single microphone, whereas the Oticon Intent uses 2 microphones on each hearing aid. Now this helps the hearing aids identify what direction sound is coming from, so it can amplify speech and reduce background noise around you better than a single microphone system. The Zeal might also give you a little bit of the occlusion effect, which is the effect that you get when you have something blocking your ear canals and it doesn't allow the vibration of your own voice to exit your ear. If you're using the Oticon Intent, you can use an open rubber dome or vented rubber dome. You hide the electronics behind your ears and it opens up your ear canal more, so you do not get that occlusion effect. And you also do not get the same fitting range with the Zeal as what you get with the Intent. So the Intent hearing aids, you can use a 60 decibel receiver, 85 decibel receiver, 100 decibel receiver, and 105 decibel receiver. The Oticon Zeal gives you a 70 decibel receiver. So essentially you could have more of a severe to profound level hearing loss and still use the Oticon Intent, whereas if your thresholds exceed 70 decibels, in most cases, you're not going to be able to use the Zeal. So how do you know for sure that the Zeal hearing aid is going to be right for you? Well, you have to go in and test it out for yourself. And the good news is that if you don't get the level of performance or physical comfort or whatever from the Zeal hearing aids, you can always transition over to the Oticon Intent hearing aids and get everything that you're looking for that the Zeal wasn't able to accomplish for you. And there you go. Those are the answers to the top 10 questions that everybody always asks about the Oticon Zeal hearing aids. If you have any questions that I did not answer in this video, go ahead and leave them down in the comment section. I'll get to them as soon as I possibly can, and I'll see you in the next video.